Yeah, so him being arrested isn't really like the shocker. It's him coming out and his, I guess, reaction to it, right? Because everybody's saying, King, you grew up privileged, bro. Why are you going down this path? Now he's talking about F the police, F12. So, it just, he
T.I.'s son, King Harris, has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected.
Welcome back to Starbuzz Daily, where the lights stay bright and the stories stay hot. And this one is a straight shock to the city's system. King Harris is in intensive care, fighting for his life after what insiders are calling a brutal prison takedown that turned the whole block upside down overnight. Word from behind those Georgia prison walls says chaos hit like a thunderclap. King allegedly got jumped inside his unit, and the scene exploded before anyone could blink. Alarms blared, steel doors slammed, and guards sprinted in as fists flew, and bodies hit the ground like a movie stunt gone wrong. Sources say it looked like a gangster flick in high definition. Officers wrestling for control, radios screaming, and the floor slick with footprints from the stampede as they dragged King out of the mess. He was rushed under heavy guard to the infirmary, face swollen, body bruised, and barely moving while med staff scrambled to stabilize him. By the time lockdown clamped down, multiple inmates were already injured, which tells you this wasn't some quick scuffle. This felt like an eruption, a full-on ambush that someone planned in cold blood. The whispers are loud. This wasn't random heat, it was a targeted hit meant to send a message that echoes past those bars. Some people are saying this was payback for King's flexing. The money talk, the lifestyle, the last name. All of it rubbing certain folks the wrong way in a place where fame means nothing but extra attention from the wrong eyes. Others say it was a warning. Inside, status doesn't protect you, it paints a target on your back. And when the news leaked, the internet went nuclear. Timelines split in half, with some sending prayers and others clowning like it's a highlight reel, claiming he finally met the real world and couldn't handle it. That level of noise only cranks the pressure higher while the family scrambles behind the scenes. Inside the Harris home, it's DEFCON 1. Panic, phone calls, strategy talk, and fears that this won't be the last time someone tries to make a move on King. The tension is so thick you could slice it, and the longer he stays inside, the risk gets meaner by the hour. What we know right now is chilling. King Harris is in critical condition. The unit is on high alert, and whispers are multiplying by the minute. Was this a clash gone left, or did someone line this up with precision and patience? And if so, who's calling those shots from the shadows? As soon as the siren songs of rumor hit the net, the whole culture lit up. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of it turning into a live courtroom with a million judges screaming at once. Some folks prayed up and sent love, while others cracked jokes in bad taste, saying King finally got humbled by a world that doesn't care about last names or blue checks. Meanwhile, the Harris household is in a spin cycle. Emergency calls to lawyers, publicists, and anyone with pull inside Georgia's system, because the fear is simple and deadly. If King got targeted once, he could get targeted again. That's the thought that's keeping everybody up at night. Then came the rumor wave, loud, messy, and unconfirmed, pointing straight at prison yard politics that had been brewing for weeks. One voice close to the circle whispered King was marked ahead of time, not by chance, but by design. Set up for humiliation to knock him off his square in front of the whole unit. Another alleged insider with ties to staff painted King as a pariah, a flashy outsider who didn't read the room and talk like he ran the yard. Anonymous inmates reportedly warned him to chill. Keep your head down, stay low, and move with respect. But the vibe is he didn't back off, and the threats turned into action. That's when the family hit full throttle. Word is, T.I. hasn't closed his eyes since the news broke, calling attorneys, lobbying politicians, and pushing every button with Georgia's Department of Corrections to pull any legal lever that can move a transfer or a release. The urgency is real, and the stakes are higher than gossip can reach. One Atlanta Voice claims Tip offered everything on the table: checks, promises, confidentiality, anything to get his son out alive before the clock runs out. Picture it, the king of the South running a rescue playbook like it's fourth quarter and the season's on the line. Because to him, it is. Tiny, meanwhile, is reportedly running her own war room. Media strategy, public narrative, and prep for the worst-case what-ifs, because the internet doesn't wait and sympathy has a short battery life when drama's this loud. The pressure is bending that famous united front, and insiders say the arguments between Tip and Tiny are explosive. Each side sees the problem different. Who pushed, who pulled, who enabled, who warned, and those finger-pointing sessions are turning private pain into public cracks that fans can see through the screen. That level of stress makes every move riskier, every statement heavier, and every silence louder than a siren. The scariest part is the talk that this wasn't about petty disrespect at all. The streets are buzzing about a failed contraband deal, a refereeless world where loyalty beats clout and one wrong move can turn into a sentence inside a sentence. If that's true, you're not dealing with beef, you're dealing with business, and business gets handled. This is where it turns from rumor to horror movie plot. Sources tied to the internal review are hinting there's evidence of a setup, claiming King was lured to a quiet corner, and that's where at least 3 men pounced with precision like they'd walked the play 5 times in practice. Now, here's the curveball. The surveillance cameras in that area reportedly went dark right when it happened, which has the internet throwing side-eye at the system itself. The Georgia Department of Corrections is denying any glitch, but even insiders are shaking their heads like, come on, because the timing is too slick to feel like random chance. One of Tip's former road managers dropped a line that took off. It's Georgia. Cameras break when they need to break. That quote keeps circling because it matches the public's gut feeling that something bigger is moving in the shadows, something with reach and patience. While King fights to stabilize, the Harris family is boiling over in real time. Their usual lockstep unity is wobbling under the heat. People close to the couple say Tip and Tiny are clashing, each with a different playbook on how to save their son. One pushing tough leverage and high-level calls, the other pushing protection, compassion, and clean optics. And the world hasn't forgotten the Falcons game clip, the viral headlock moment where Tip pulled King close and told him, "You are embarrassing yourself and your family," as security tried to cool things off and Tiny tried to de-escalate. At the time, viewers thought that was rock bottom. A father-son crash aired for millions. Now, with hospital machines humming and the family's nerves frayed, that moment looks like foreshadowing. Not the end, but the trailer to a much darker episode. It wasn't just clout or pride on the line then, and it's not now. This is survival talk, where choices echo and the bill always comes due. Behind the scenes, Tip's play is aggressive. Legal maneuvers, emergency motions, and calls to power players who can nudge a process that rarely moves for anyone. Tiny's side is softer but just as fierce. Media discipline, damage control, and protecting her child from a narrative that can scar a lifetime. The tension is all over it. Lawyers whispering strategy, publicists shaping statements, and fans dissecting every comma online like it's a clue in a crime novel. And the camera talk isn't dying down. Technical issue doesn't fly when bodies fall at the exact moment the lenses go blind. Until official reports land, this story sits in that dangerous airspace between fact and fear. And that's where the ugliest choices get made. If a setup did happen, somebody felt safe enough to do it, which means the threats aren't just inside the unit. They might be woven into the infrastructure. Let's talk culture inside the walls, because behind bars, respect is the only currency that never inflates, and you can't swipe a last name to buy it. Word is, older inmates weren't feeling King's energy, especially if he was trying to keep a social glow even while locked in, with coded messages and loud posture that read like a spotlight where people want shadows. One former prisoner said it plain: "We don't care who your daddy is. If you don't pay respect, you get checked. That's the yard rule. No shortcuts, no VIP rope. And if people think you're performing instead of adapting, the line gets drawn fast." On the outside, Tip was reportedly ready to torch the system with public pressure, while also feeding friendly narratives that frame King as a victim of broken institutions. Is that protection or PR? Or both at once? Depends on who you ask. But the game is always multi-layered when fame is involved. Then the industry whispers turn messier. 3 veteran voices pushing the same take. King wasn't just targeted for who he is. He was targeted for the shadow his family lives under. The Harris name has been attached to past allegations that never led to charges, but the stain stuck in public memory, and inside that world, smoke is enough to get you side-eyed. Sabrina Peterson, a former friend of T.I., once claimed she had receipts, framing a narrative that kept the Harris brand under a cloud even with no formal action taken. On the streets and in prison chatter, that kind of talk doesn't just fade, it lingers, it labels, and it loads every interaction with bias you can't see until it hits. Then came an even colder rumor. A broken deal tied to contraband politics, where people say King's name landed in the wrong ledger and promises didn't add up. In that arena, disagreements don't get think pieces, they get responses. And if someone feels crossed, it's not talk anymore, it's math. Add the optics, private schools, early TV fame, designer looks, and fast cars. All the shine that feels like privilege to those who never saw a chance to touch it. That can turn a young man into a symbol, and symbols get used for status, for payback, for leverage in bigger games that don't post scores. What you're left with is a perfect storm, a famous last name, old headlines, new whispers, and a yard that reads everything as a test you either pass or pay for. King wasn't feared, he was available, which is worse inside a place where being available makes you everybody's option. And while he fights for his life, the family fights for their center. Love versus strategy, pressure versus pride, and a legacy trying to stand upright in a wind built to knock it down. The cost of celebrity doesn't stop at the gate. It multiplies, where fame turns from armor into a target. Insiders keep saying the quiet part aloud. This was never just about King the person. It was about what he represents in a space that feeds on symbols and leverage. When someone with headlines steps inside, people don't see a soul. They see a bargaining chip, a way to climb a ladder that only goes two directions, up or out. One former Georgia inmate explained it like a science. Fame is like blood in the water. It draws attention from rivals, hustlers, and anyone trying to prove they can move a big piece off the board. If the whispers about a botched contraband play are real, then King wasn't in a beef. He was in a power struggle, and those end quick and loud. But fists are only half the battle. The mind games are ruthless. Every look can be a warning, every rumor a trap, every corridor a test, and silence is both shield and sword depending on how you carry it. Reports say King's background made him look soft, and any attempt to look tough only increased the glare. Turning performance into provocation? That's the sick twist. The same spotlight that builds careers can ruin survival skills, because attention is a liability where invisibility is the only safety net. The code doesn't bend for fan bases, awards, or viral clips. It bends for respect, and it breaks anyone who mistakes attention for authority. Inside, alliances matter more than a last name. Who stands with you, who speaks for you, who chooses to keep your name out of conversations that could end ugly. And the silence of certain people can be louder than a shout, because silence often means consent when the room knows the schedule before the bell rings. From the jump, King was swimming with sharks, old headlines nipping at his heels, new rumors stacking up like dominoes, and a public ready to narrate his every move in real time. It's a dangerous mix: pride, pressure, and people waiting to make a name by taking yours. The bigger lesson rings harsh. The justice system doesn't pause for star power, doesn't grant passes for celebrity bloodlines, and doesn't care who you are when the count is called. It's survival of the fittest, written in rules you don't get to rewrite. And King learned that with a cost that nobody would ever choose to pay. This isn't just a tabloid spiral. It's a human crisis with a family at the center, a unit trying to hold together while the world watches and guesses and posts. And the worst part is the unknown. If someone truly orchestrated this, they might believe they can do it again, which keeps every night long and every phone call heavy. Right now, the clock is loud. King Harris is holding on, and the family is moving like a unit under siege, pulling strings and calling every favor to beat a system that rarely loses. Tip is working like a man possessed, because when it's your child, there's no such thing as too much pressure or too many calls. There's only results. But every big move sparks bigger questions. Is this about saving a life or saving a legacy that's taken hit after hit in the court of public opinion? The truth might be both, because fame makes everything double. The pain and the payoff, the pressure and the payout, the rescue and the reputation. The ambush could be the spark that lights up secrets nobody wanted in daylight. Rivalries, debts, power plays, and camera glitches that feel too perfect to be accidents. If a setup is proven, then someone believed they were safe enough to disrespect the system while using the system. And that's the kind of bold that doesn't stop after one try. This is bigger than clout or headlines. It's a family measuring how far they'll go, how much they'll spend, and how hard they'll fight to pull their son out of a maze built to keep people inside. The internet will keep talking, but the real plays happen in quiet rooms with short sentences and long consequences. So here's the raw question. Is King Harris paying the price of arrogance and attention, or is he caught inside a storm way bigger than any one person can control? Could this attack unlock rivalries and truth so sharp that even T.I. and Tiny can't hold the fallout back once it blows? Until the official word lands, We're sitting at the intersection of fear and fact. ICU updates, legal filings, camera questions, and a family trying to stay steady while the floor moves under them. The next headline could shift everything, for better or worse, and everyone watching knows this story isn't near the finish line. If you rock with real updates and straight talk without the noise, you're in the right spot. We'll keep tracking every credible move, every confirmed step, and every official change in status, because the details matter when the stakes are life and legacy. That's it for now, fam. Drop your thoughts below and keep it respectful, because real people are hurting behind these headlines. Like the video, smash that subscribe, hit the bell, and share this with anyone following the Harris family drama. Then comment your take so we can pin the sharpest ones. From Starbuzz Daily, we appreciate you. Stay sharp, stay safe, and see you on the next one.